Thanks for joining me again for part 2 of the wolf staff build. So when we left, I'd sort of done the head and started down the neck, and we continued on doing the same sort of thing. There's a couple of minutes of extra build time go. I actually built this over 12 months ago, and the videos have been sitting here waiting for me to edit, but life is what it is. I have a grandchild, so life has changed and there's things that we're doing. I'm just starting to find my balance and getting back into crafting, and because these things have been sitting on my computer for so long, I thought there's no point not doing anything with them. I also have got a bunch of other things that I've built, and I've started to not... I've got a pile of shame that's collecting because I'm not videoing things. I'm not doing things because I'm not videoing things. I'm not videoing things because I hadn't sent these up. So hopefully, with the finishing of the speak voiceover for this and uploading them for you to all watch, I might get onto some other stuff and do it as well. So I continued with just small bits of hair going round and round and round and round and round the pole, burying the cable in drilling holes and doing it in as we go. And so we end up with a complete looking similar to the picture that I originally started with. It's like it's sort of a combination of neck, hair and tail design, and apparently a lot of inspection by me to see whether I was happy. So it did come really good, and I'm hoping that I'm going to pick it up and show you in a second. That would be nice. No, just some stills. Alright, so that is the primarily the construction with using the soft clay. I explained in the last video about the soft clay. I love it, and I will continue to use it for... Oh no, I'm not finished. Oh yeah, there's more to go. But wait. So as I said, I started with big pieces, and then I started adding littler pieces in and filling in the gaps, and I did it till it went round, till I got it around enough for the pieces to be smaller and tapering out. And at some stages I went back and filled in some of the gaps that were large with smaller bits again, continuing to keep trying to develop the shape and get the continuity. The soft clay, once you get it on, so I've used PVA glue and then pushed it in, but once you get it on, it's very easy to stick it to itself, so it wasn't a drama to go back and build up the shape as I'm doing here. When I'd done the majority of the neck shape, I had to install the button and the battery box. So I just drilled with a borer bit down and then cut it out with Dremel and knives and chisel, and made a thing for the 9-volt battery to go into, and soldered everything into place, stripped the wires, soldered the bits together, made it permanent. As I said, the button only makes the circuit when you hold it in, and when you let it go, it turns it off. So our wolf mage will be able to use her arcane abilities when she feels like it. Just some production shots. I took a print of my dog's foot. This is my black dog, and I made a boss for the bottom of the cane. This is just a bit of fun. I knew I had to finish off the staff somehow. There's the black dog there, actually, that belongs to it. I put it on with some silicone compound to take some of the impact. I was taken back to when I was a kid with Barter Scouts, when you had shoes with the lion footprint in them. You could walk around leaving prints, and I thought it might be just a funky, extra little fun thing. The boss I thought was too small by itself, so I've made a Perspex container, put it on with tape, and I'm just going to fill it with resin. This is just the craft cast resin that I use normally. It's a 2-component mix. You just mix equal quantities. It takes an hour to go off. It's great for casting things. So I left it 24 hours and then peeled it away, and then proceeded to trick it out with a little bit of cardboard and things. The footprint works well, and it's a heavy enough boss on the bottom to make it stamp really well without you having to try. It also stamps well on people's feet if you want to give somebody a bit of hurry on for the way they're going. After I glued the staff together, I just sanded up the join where the 2 bits were, gave the boss a bit of a sand because it had a mould mark, and then I used some rubber bits, thin rubber. It's only as thick as you can see, and it was a sheet, and I just cut it into strips and then glued it around to make it feel more like it was carved in. So there's your whole staff together, blurry though it is. The whole thing, when you stand it up, is a little bit over 6 foot tall and 180 centimeters, 186 centimeters, whatever it is. So that picture there was the picture that I got shown of what the mage was supposed to look like, and so all of the staff had to just reflect the wolf that she has and the things, that hence the colour of the eyes and the colour of the scheme that I did. Again, because it was supposed to be carved out, I did want to try and mimic a little bit of the wolf that you see in the picture, but the point was that this is a carved out of a piece of timber figurehead on the end of the staff, and so it didn't have to be an airbrushy wonderful. It's supposed to be a little bit blocky and chunky. The colours were colours that I had left around from some house painting tester pots, where I double up as a house painter from time to time, and so I ended up with a couple of tester pots from a particular job that they picked the colours that they wanted, and there was a bunch of tester pots left over, so they came in handy for this one. Just basic sort of big versions of techniques that you use for normal models. Dark colour, bit of dry brushing, bit of popping things on, and from the picture noticing the colours that the wolf had and trying to mimic those a little bit in the shadings and the things that the wolf has. I actually enjoyed this process because the more paint I got on, the less it looked like the soft clay, the happier I was with the way that it had moulded, and I was just chuffed. I enjoyed the job. I could whistle a bit if you want to. Or play some bagpipe music. Don't know why the wolf's got electric lightning bits on its fur, but I decided to go a little bit that way myself. And I think it added to the finish of it all. Then it was highlight do the mouth bit and paint the nose black, highlight the eyes and go around them a little bit, just do the wolfy type things that, again, trying to still keep within this is a painted thing feel of it all, so that it's a little bit islandery, carved, totemy thing rather than a super airbrushed, realistic life drawing. The mouth was awkward. Painting this was a bit tricky, and trying to get in around all of the flames that were covered in plastic without getting it on any of the things I didn't want and missing any things that the plastic might have been covering. That was just a fraction tricky. As you can see, this was done in winter. Extra wet layers on there. Once all the painting was done, the rest of it was working out how I was going to disguise the trigger and winding some rope around doing some cord around the handle. These are Nordic words. Again, it was so long ago that I can't remember what the two words were. I think one of them is wolf, and if you want to look them up, you can. Just for a little bit of authenticity, I just went with the rune pictogram things. I got the Dremel out and dremeled them into the surface so that I could have them as if they were carved out. I also taped off the base of the boss to go with the design from the girl's anklets that she was wearing, and using the Dremel just dremeled out the resin. Make sure you wear your mask, because this stuff, if you Dremel or you do work with the resin, it is really powdery, and I dare say it'd probably be carcinogenic if you're breathing it in. So always be real careful that you wear your PPE stuff. To hang from the fabric, the rope that's going around, I'd found some wool earlier in the piece, very early in the design stage, that was a really good blue colour, but I decided to make some wolf claws. I just cut the basic shapes out of some soft timber. I think this is a bit of camp floral from memory, and then just shaped it on the sander so that it was resembled claws a lot more and a lot less like pieces of timber. Shaped them all up, drilled a hole in them, and then painted them up, and got to use them for. They came out decent enough for the final job. Basic-ish paint job. A little bit of reference to pictures and the dog to see what things sort of look like, and when they're hanging from the cord that comes off the handle, gave a little bit more dynamic to the whole build, so that there's a little bit of movement and things. I used a spray paint gold, just a basic spray paint gold, and then did a brown wash and a null and oily type. It's a homemade wash over the top of it, to give it a bronzy, again more in keeping with the picture of the girl and the kinds of colours that she's wearing. So taped it up so that I didn't get any on the timber, and then it was staple and liquid nail the thread in place just to get it started, and then keep winding. In the end, do a little plait, stick a claw on, tie a knot. Same thing up the top. I did the cord down. Now I left some of this dangle to help with the disguising the bulge that is the button. I did end up putting that completely underneath some tennis grip, so it's a tennis racket grip, to just make it so that it wasn't greasy. And I put a little pouch. I used some Velcro so that it can be pulled away to reveal the battery when it's time to replace the battery. It was a very different job, this one. Lots of different media to work with. I was challenged for some of it. The electronics was tricky. That took a bunch of getting your head around, and like I said, I ended up with very simple circuits, and the simple thing I thought was best. If you're going to put a battery in, always put a ribbon so that you can pull it out, because those things are mongrels to get out if you don't. Like I said, I used some Velcro so that the grip can be undone. This was a little bit tricky. It took some doing to get it to stay stuck over. Then I painted some paint inside the things. I toyed with the idea of airbrushing a little bit to try and make them glow, but I'm not the greatest glow perfecter, so I decided just to let the colour give the impression. If she wants to say they're glowing, she can. Otherwise, it can just be painted runes that were painted on there. And that's basically the lot. I think there's some glamour photos for you to see from that she took when she displays it in her home, and then gets it down and uses it when she's going to conventions and doing D&D nights and things. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've really enjoyed the whole process and the doing, and I'll see you the next time I do a video. Have a great day, and thanks.